Welcome to The Queen's Lair, a lifestyle podcast. Get inspired by our latest tips and information about small business, entrepreneurship, natural hair, travel, food, and even relationships. Stay tuned for another great episode. I am your host, Renee Patrice. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning into my podcast once again. Early morning, getting started. I am starting to get some questions coming in. Thank y'all for emailing me. One that jumped out at me that I said, you know what, I'm going to cover this subject matter today. And it's called bootstrapping. Now, it jumped out to me because that's how I started my business. So basically, bootstrapping, very simply put, is when you take from within your own resources to fund, well, I'm going to speak on it from the business perspective, to fund your business. If you have taken out a loan to fund your business, that would not be bootstrapping. Bootstrapping means I can tell you how I did it. Bootstrapping for me was taking all of the bonus money, all of the profit sharing, and whatever extra that was coming from my 9-to-5 job. I was taking that, and for 3 years straight, I put that money away in a separate account. So it wasn't in my regular checking and savings account. I got a whole other savings account that had very good percentages on it, right? So it can earn interest. And I put all of that money, any bonus money that I made, anything outside of my salary, anything extra outside of my salary to the penny was put into that account for 3 full years and didn't touch a dime in there for 3 full years. And that pretty much was the bulk of what I used to really work on my business, which was the side hustle at the time, which is now my full-time business, Onyx Queen Media, of what you guys know today as Onyx Queen Media. It was not easy because when you have extra, you always find ways to spend, unnecessarily going on trips. You have a cushion, all that sort of stuff. And to be honest, at the time, vacations were still happening. I was still traveling with my significant other and we're going places and seeing people and doing things. But it never came out of that money. It never came out of the extras. It always came out of the salary. So that is a great way to discipline yourself as well. But that is how I bootstrapped my business. So now that we know what bootstrapping is, let me go over some of the things that I think are very important for you to bootstrap your business. All right. One of the things and I briefly talked about this in a previous episode about writing about what you love, write about what you know, right? Same thing with the business. Stick to business that you know. Stick to something that you are good at. And if you're really good at organization, then say, you know what? How can I monetize this? Are you really great at beautifying people's homes and getting them organized? Then you can become an organizer. Where you go into people's homes, people pay folks for this. To go in and organize their kitchens, to go in and organize their closets, especially some of our more high-end clients who have nary a minute to get anything done, right? They're executives, they don't have time, they're celebrities, they're probably always traveling, whatever the case may be, public figures. You can really put yourself out there and become a home organizer, a home decor, guru. If you Google any of this stuff, especially within YouTube, you will see there are organizers who have pages. They don't necessarily share who their clients are, but they'll set up a camera at one end of a walk-in closet and they'll show you what their day is like organizing a client. Especially the high-end folks, who have these huge walk-in closets. I mean, I'm a New Yorker, so we're used to these little tiny little, like a closet is like the size of a studio apartment, that kind of thing. So I understand about the tiny apartments, but I tell you, when you live other places, especially if you go to the South and where they have the older buildings and things, or even in New York, if you live in an older apartment, especially the World War II apartments and things, those are huge. Those buildings tend to have a lot of problems, but, aesthetically speaking, those apartments are huge. And they're not easy to come by anymore, But especially living in the South, and I've, lived in the southern states in the Southeast for many years, actually close to 25 years now, because I lived in the Southeast, living in the DMV area, which part of it is considered the South. Virginia is obviously the South, and DC and Maryland, they're kind of like the mid-Atlantic, but part of the South, technically speaking, nonetheless. And now living in the Georgia area. Oh my goodness. If you can find yourself a huge apartment, oh, it's amazing. The apartments definitely are bigger down this way. But I tell you, organizers, they're getting paid. So if you love to do that stuff, stick to what you know. Take one of your great passions in life and really analyze it and see if you can monetize it, because you probably can. If you are working with a small budget, and here's where that saying comes in. What is it? Champagne wishes, caviar dreams. Well, you probably have a beer budget, but you're trying to live on champagne dreams. No, do not build around what you hope for things to be. Do not build for, I dream of doing this. Build and plan things that are within your budget, right? If you're going to spend money, you have to write out a plan of how that's going to happen, because this is how things go over budget. And especially if you cannot afford to go over budget, you need to have a plan. Even if it's a simple spreadsheet to say, okay, we got $1,000. How are we going to paint this whole place for $1,000? You have to take into consideration, do you have to hire people to paint? Do you have to hire, talent? You have to take in consideration how much the paint is going to cost, how much the supplies are going to cost, the travel, all of that, right? So stick to your budgets. Be realistic. Stick to a plan, right? Another thing with businesses I see a lot of people doing, they want to be in office space. They want to have this thing. Listen, virtual office is your friend. Okay. Virtual office is your friend. There is no reason why you need to be paying for office space, especially now in a pandemic. We're not really seeing people face to face right now, so office space is so much of a hassle right now. It's money out of your pocket that you don't need to spend right now. So resist the urge to get physical office space. It is not necessary. We have seen in this pandemic that nearly, aside from obvious jobs like healthcare and stuff like that, nearly all of these office positions, administrative positions, can be done from home. You don't have to be in a physical office space to do this at all. So don't incur a fee that you don't need to have. You can do a virtual office where you get sometimes they'll have a phone number, they'll have a mailing address, that everything is, professional, whatever the case may be. If you haven't gotten to the point where you can afford to do the virtual office, then get yourself a physical street address with UPS. They have services. USPS also has services as well, so that you can have a professional street address. Listen, it costs way less. It will keep you within your budget, under budget, quite frankly. So don't be out here trying to ball like, oh yeah, we got an office, and you're paying, and there's a whole lot of people paying for an office space right now that nobody's going to because, we're at the brink of another lockdown. You know what I'm saying? So I know that you have wishes of where you want to expand. Keep that on the vision board. Keep that on the vision board. But right now, if you want to stay within your budget, this is what you need to do. Okay, so don't try to expand too fast, because that's also another downfall of entrepreneurs when they're bootstrapping their businesses, is that they take on too much too fast and too soon. Okay. Always negotiate with your suppliers, your distributors. Pick up the phone and see if there are if there are things that you can do to offset your costs, right? Any type of business term, especially when it comes to things like that, can be negotiated. But a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of new business owners, they just think because they have cash in hand, they don't even bother to negotiate anything. And that's something, that we do at Onyx Queen Media, is that, we negotiate brand deals and all this sort of stuff. Well, what can we do for this if we can do for that? It doesn't hurt to ask. If they say no, if you feel like you don't want to work with them because they said no, that's up to you. It's your prerogative to choose that, but at least put it out there and ask. I don't mind when people ask, it's up to me of what I'm going to say. I let people know my prices are what they are. You know what I mean? And I personally, for certain industries, I don't like to haggle, because I feel like that's your price for things. So it's very rare of me to haggle. But when it comes to suppliers and distributors, that's a little bit different. When it comes to administrative services and people say, okay, this is my price for this, I don't haggle stuff like that. When people come to me for certain things, I don't haggle on prices like that. Our prices are what they are. But when it comes to suppliers and distributors, you can actually kind of negotiate a little bit with them. So learn how to do that. That'll definitely help you when you're bootstrapping in your business. Okay. Whatever business model that you choose, and that's going to be something that you're really going to have to, lay everything out on the table and take a look at. Really look at the end game. Is this something that I can monetize? Is this something that I can recreate down the road? Is this the Burger King mentality? And by that, I mean in fast food. The first Burger King started, the first McDonald's, the first Wendy's, Pizza Hut, whatever it is. All of those things you can make copies of, right? Because you don't just have one Burger King in town, you have several. You don't just have one McDonald's in town, you have several. You know what I mean? If you're in a neighborhood, you probably have 2, possibly 3 McDonald's within 5 miles. Easy. Starbucks, even more so. In my old neighborhood, this was so crazy to me, and I couldn't even imagine why they would do this. But my old neighborhood, there was 2 Starbucks right next door to each other. You know why? Because they had a full-on. When I think about it now, I'm like, you know what? This is really crazy. But yes, across the street from where I used to live, there's a strip mall there. There was a full standalone Starbucks, right? Big Starbucks, really nice. You can go in there. I used to do work in there sometimes. Wi-Fi, amazing. All of that. Right next door, and I'm not even joking. I'm not saying down the block. I'm talking right next door, like your neighbor that you can lean out of your door and knock on their door. Right next door, there was a supermarket. And what was in the supermarket, in the front of the supermarket? A Starbucks. So, like you have the mini Starbucks that may be inside of, store like Target or, whatever store. Yeah. So there was a supermarket, right? And inside the supermarket was a mini Starbucks in the front. So you have a full standalone Starbucks and another mini Starbucks inside the store. What? Right next door to each other. And I don't think I had ever seen that before. I was very shocked. Because I was like, are they going to make money? Let me tell you something. There will be a line inside the store, inside the grocery store in the morning, and there will be a line going outside the door in the standalone Starbucks. And I mean, it was crazy. I said, wow, they're making money hand over fist. Now, of course, the full Starbucks was making all the frappuccinos and this, that, and the other. But let me tell you something. The other one that didn't do all the fancy stuff, they still got a ton of business. A ton. And usually those smaller ones only have like one person working. They were so busy because there's a whole neighborhood across the street of houses, apartments, condos, and all of that. And it was a very, I don't know what you want to say, bougie area. It was a very well-to-do, area. And I lived in the apartments across the street, and they were not cheap at all. The neighborhood was pretty affluent, as we'll say. But I'm telling you, both of those Starbucks were making money. So think to yourself, how can I scale my business and recreate it? Can you have sales reps? Can you have marketing people or whatever it is? How can you scale that business? And if you can scale that business up, you will never have to take out a loan in your life. Never. Because you will truly be able to bootstrap your business from within. And again, bootstrapping just means that you're taking from within your own pool of resources without going outside. No capital, from outside, no angel investors, no loans or anything like that. You're generating capital for yourself within your own circle, right? From your own means, and using that to fund your business. But again, listen to this podcast again, go through the different steps. Definitely think on a subject matter that you love. Maybe there is a skill that you have just been amazing at. Like I said, organizational skills. If you have great organizational skills, you can flip that into many different businesses, even if it's just keeping track of people's calendars. I have a client right now that's literally all I do for them is keep track of their schedule, make sure that they are booked for certain things, that they know that, when their hired car is coming, their flights, all of that, because they just don't have the time to do all of that. And they're a business person and they go back and forth from East Coast to West Coast weekly. So I just keep track of them. So every other morning or so, we get on the phone really, really early, and I will run down with them their schedule and make sure they're where they need to be. Some people just need that type of organization. Some people own large homes and have families and maybe they just don't have the time because they are business people or whatever, and they just need someone to manage their house. Manage when the people are coming to, manage when the folks are coming to cut the lawn, the landscapers. Manage when housekeeping is coming. All these different things. There's so many things. There's no shame in this entrepreneur game. None whatsoever. Some people need management of their Airbnbs. They need to make sure that when people are checking out of the Airbnbs that, everything gets cleaned up properly and, sanitized down and all that sort of stuff. That's a big deal actually right now. We can create a way out of no way. Believe you me. So think how you can bootstrap your business, because the less you have to dip into looking for loans, the less that you have to have outside forces investing, I think in the beginning is actually a positive. Nothing wrong with expanding your business down the road and somebody wants to, come in and expand your business, kind of like Shark Tank when they want, the sharks to invest. I think once you get to that point, you should have bootstrapped in the beginning. And actually the sharks on Shark Tank actually look for that. They want to know what skin in the game you have put into your business. They want to know what you've spent so far. And really, it's the bootstrapping. How did you do it? Did you, come up with the money yourself? Or did you ask for outside funding? Did you do some sort of Kickstarter program or, Start Genie or, any of these things? There's always ways. They want to see how you got started first, whether it was from outside forces or bootstrapping or both or whatever. So definitely bootstrapping. I highly recommend it. I think it's a much safer way to go in the beginning, and then expand from there. But do what you love. Don't try to start a business for something that is just like quick money or whatever, and you don't really love it. Map out your plan and do what you love. And bootstrapping, I think, is a great way to begin. So I hope I answered the individual's question about bootstrapping and kind of how to get started with that. But just take those extras. If you get a raise on your job, don't then go run out and get another credit card. Take those extras from the job that you currently have and put it towards what you want to do. But you got to be disciplined. All right. So bootstrapping, definitely what a lot of entrepreneurs have done. So, all right. If you want to talk to me down the road on social media, you're hanging out in the background, because I see people that I know listen and they click like, but they never comment. So feel free to comment. Don't be afraid to comment. Say good morning, whatever. It's up to you. Social media, all socials at Onyx Queen Media. Instagram is my most active social media, so you can find me over there. I don't really check DMs like that. Usually if you're DMing, especially for people who may not know, for business, I'll probably just tell you to send me an email. But if you just want to comment on my social media, feel free. Say hello. Don't be afraid. At Onyx Queen Media. If you want to email me, please do. Want to hear from you. Let's go. It's early, y'all. I'm trying to keep myself up. Okay. Want to email me? Feel free. Hello at onyxqueenmedia.com. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Bye. Online savings simplified. Don't search for coupon codes ever again. With one click, Honey's smart shopping assistant will automatically apply discounts to your cart in seconds. Save on all your favorite things. Easily pay less for products you're already buying online. It's as easy as 1, 2, 3. Join Honey for free. It takes 2 clicks to add Honey to your Chrome, Safari, Firefox, or Opera browser. Find savings in seconds. While you shop, Honey will find working promo codes across the entire internet, and you save instantly. With one click, Honey will apply the best deals to your cart. It's that easy. So what are you waiting for? Get Honey. Download it today. Visit our link, www.tinyurl.com/ONYXHONEY. That's www.tinyurl.com/Onyx Honey. Start saving right now.